Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, September 25th. Still feeling the effects of a weakened tropical storm Ophelia in the mid-Atlantic region. A lot of cool and damp weather with occasional light rain or drizzle. Looks like that pattern will continue in the mid-Atlantic region for the next couple of days as, again, it only slowly drifts away. We have a couple of big systems to look at here with respect to the total rainfall amounts over the next 5 days. Thought I'd start off with this prediction of total precipitation amounts again over the next 5 days from this morning, Monday morning, until Saturday morning. First of all, Pacific Northwest all the way down to Northern California. A lot of rainfall here. We'll see an upper level chart, 500 millibar chart in a moment. There's a very, very deep upper level trough over the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean that will help to contribute to this significant amount of rainfall across the Pacific Northwest and all the way down into Northern California over the next 5 days. Meanwhile, look at all of this rain over Florida here. And there's a tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico that is a slow mover. It's generally focused in this area in terms of its location, but it's certainly helping to cause some rainfall all the way back into Florida and just off the southeast U.S. coastline, and will continue to do so over the next few days. So a lot of moisture here over Florida and parts of the Gulf region, and also to the north and west along the Pacific Northwest coastline down into Northern California. Well, here's the latest radar loop from the College of DuPage weather website. This is of the northeastern part of the nation. A lot of rainfall up over New England, and believe it or not, that is from the remains of Tropical Storm Ophelia. It pretty much acted as we expected, weakened after it moved onshore in eastern North Carolina and then headed up towards the Chesapeake Bay region, kind of slowed down at that particular time and continued to weaken, then turned off to the north and east over New Jersey, and is now causing some decent rainfall up across New England all the way back into the central part of New York State. Doesn't show up all that well here in southeastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, Delaware, but there's still plenty of moisture in the lower part of the atmosphere this morning, with occasional light rain and drizzle continuing, and all of this area experiencing some cooler than normal weather conditions for this time of the year. The normal high right now in Philadelphia is about 76 degrees, and we'll hold way down in the 60s for highs in Philly, probably at best the low to mid 60s, well below normal for this time of the year. And we have a very persistent onshore flow of air continuing with anywhere from north to northeast to east winds throughout the mid-Atlantic region, all as a result of the remains of Tropical Storm Ophelia and high pressure to the north. Well, let's take a look at the 0Z run of the GFS. It's a conventional version of the GFS from last night, and we're looking here at 500 millibar height anomalies. Obviously, two features really jump out at you, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. Very, very deep upper level low situated off the west coast of Canada, the Pacific Northwest coast, and that will certainly influence the weather conditions over the next few days in that part of the U.S. and Canada, all the way down from southwestern Canada to northern California. Significant rainfall amounts over the next few days. And look at this upper level ridging right here over the Hudson Bay region of Canada. That is kind of a contributing factor to the very slow movement of what remains of Tropical Storm Ophelia, and it's all contributing, the remnants of the tropical storm and that high pressure to the north, to an onshore flow, keeping it quite cool, well below normal in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, not only over the past weekend, but for the next few days as well. In fact, the week as a whole in the Mid-Atlantic region, Northeast U.S. look below normal, with a lot of onshore flow continuing for much of the week. Well, let's move forward here and watch what happens. We do have an upper level trough here. You can kind of see here early Monday morning over the northern plains that will tend to move in this fashion, and we'll pinpoint that over the next couple of frames here. Here we go. This is an upper level trough over the Midwest by the time we get to later tomorrow. Again, two big features here, two important features: strong upper level system closing in on the Pacific Northwest coast, and that upper level ridging over the Hudson Bay region of Canada. Now we're into the midweek, and let's go ahead into the latter part of the upcoming week. This is of the current week. This is the Thursday morning forecast map, and here's that upper level trough, and I'm only pointing that out because it could cause some unsettled conditions to return to the Mid-Atlantic region, let's say from Thursday into Friday. But then we'll see as we get into the upcoming weekend, high pressure ridging kind of pushes that away and redevelops in the Mid-Atlantic region. And this whole part of the country and the eastern part of Canada can have a pretty decent weather conditions over the upcoming weekend. Basically relatively cool for this time of the year, and certainly dry as well once that upper level trough, which is situated here by early Saturday morning, pushes off the coast. Meanwhile, out in the west, a lot of chilly, wet conditions here across Northern California into Oregon and Washington. Again, significant rainfall amounts over the next 5 days. We'll move a little bit farther in time, and here we go into the latter part of the upcoming weekend, and then a week from right now, next Monday morning, still have that high pressure ridging kind of centered over central Canada and a lot of troughiness out over the interior western states, and then that trough kind of intensifies off the east coast here over the upcoming weekend into the early part of next week. And we'll have to watch this because there are some signs that this could spawn the development of a low pressure area that could actually kind of back in towards the coast later next week, something we can keep an eye on over the next several days. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from the Zero-Z GFS, and here we go. Right here, even a little bit of low pressure area representing the final remains of Tropical Storm Ophelia. It made landfall early Saturday morning right here the eastern part of North Carolina. Very strong tropical storm. Didn't quite make it, at least in the current evaluation, it didn't quite make it as a minimal hurricane, Category 1 hurricane. Nonetheless, it was a strong tropical storm. Moved to the north and then tended to slow down and move to the north and east across the Chesapeake Bay, then the Delaware Bay into southern part of New Jersey, and still producing east to northeast winds and occasional light rain and drizzle all the way from certainly Delmarva Peninsula, Philadelphia, up across New York City and into southern New England. Meanwhile, way out to the Pacific Northwest, there's the influx of the moisture associated with that deep upper level trough. Now, let's move forward here. Next couple of days, here we are into tomorrow morning, still damp, cool combination of the remnants of Ophelia and that high pressure to the north. Again, winds blow clockwise around highs, and that is continuing to push in relatively cool air into New England, into the Mid-Atlantic region over the next couple of days. And this is a key player right here, not only the next couple of days, but moving forward to the latter part of the week, and we'll see that in a moment. A lot of rainfall, and even some of the higher elevations starting to see some blues showing up with some snowfall in this active weather pattern across the Pacific Northwest. And then we go into the midweek. High pressure kind of resumes control in the Mid-Atlantic region. Looks like Wednesday may feature some sunshine again in D.C., Philadelphia, maybe New York City, after the first couple of the days of the work week are damp and cool and cloudy. A strong high pressure over southeastern Canada and storminess over the Oregon and Washington coast by the middle of the week here. Let's now move forward, and here's the situation over the Midwest as we get into the day on Thursday. You have that upper level trough that currently is located over the northern plains. It kind of dives to the south and east, weakens somewhat, but it may be strong enough to cause some shower activity in the Mid-Atlantic region later Thursday into Friday. The GFS does not quite show that. Other models do, so it's kind of a weakening trough here, but it could cause some unsettled weather conditions in the Mid-Atlantic region later Thursday into Friday, something we'll watch. And then we get into the end of the work week and finally into the upcoming week. And it looks like this high may then resume control and could turn out to be a pretty nice weekend in the Middle Atlantic region, Northeast U.S. with that high pressure area kind of resuming control. Meanwhile, tropical systems still over the Gulf of Mexico and quite active just off the eastern seaboard. And when that upper level trough moves in, this may strengthen here, and it's something we'll have to monitor over the next several days. Going into next week, there's a possibility again of low pressure off the eastern seaboard that could kind of back in to the coast, something we'll monitor. But look at this, some blue showing up here. There's higher elevations by the end of the week. This is actually a Saturday morning forecast map. Let's go another day here into the end of the upcoming week. And here we go by Sunday morning. High pressure in control over the Midwest, over the Northeast U.S., and likely over the Midwest as well during the second half of the upcoming weekend. Here's that low pressure area off the East Coast and another one way down near the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico. Some snow showing up the higher elevations of California and out in the west of Oregon, and even over some Utah mountains here, the Wasatch mountain range of northern Utah. Could see some snow with this particular upper level pattern latter part of the upcoming weekend. So that's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.